At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
Want to create something extraordinary? Create perfection. Our lifestyle appliances make it easy. KitchenAid, Ventura TV appliance, and you, when only the best will do.
Showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. Glad you are with us. We're back live here after a week's vacation. We have an open phone line, 436-ME-TV option 11. Today's topic, we'll talk about the Democratic National Convention now underway in Philly. Last week's Republican convention, of course, with Donald Trump. And we'll talk about the email scandal. Back in a moment. And we're back here live on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Glad you are with us. It's on the air, off the presses today. We'll have our media expert here in the house talking about the Democratic Convention, the Republican Convention. But boy, I'll tell you what, let's talk about, though, the coming shows here for this week. We're back live after a week's vacation, and tomorrow's program, a very interesting one. We'll talk to an expert, a small business owner, the effects of the minimum wage hike to $15 an hour here in California. Is it going to have an effect on small businesses across the state? Of course, it doesn't really go into effect $15 an hour until the year 2022. It was already signed by the Governor Jerry Brown in April, so we'll talk about that. Then on Wednesday, hey, we'll talk to a bike shop owner who had his shop in downtown Fresno and decided, you know what, I've had enough. He had break-in after break-in after break-in. He finally picked up, left, and moved to Hanford. He'll be in the studio here on Wednesday. On Thursday, we'll have Peter Nazaridian here. He is our resident family therapist. We'll talk about dating and marriage and all that kind of stuff. And then on Friday, Doug Vagum is going to be along to talk about some local politics, including the mayor's race. So let's get right to it. Democratic National Convention kicking off in Philadelphia this morning. However, the email scandal in the Democratic Party involving Hillary Clinton, I guess you could say, continues. Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz of Florida packing it in. She is ousted as the Democratic National Committee chair effective after the convention. Now, the big question is, why wait until after? Why not now? Why does she preside over the convention? Well, she isn't really going to preside, but she isn't ousted until after it's over. This all after WikiLeaks posted more than 20,000 emails dating back to 2015. The Democratic Party leaders talking about getting rid of Bernie Sanders or putting him aside and giving the edge to Hillary Clinton. We get the latest in this report now as we kick off our program from ABC News.
On the eve of the Democratic Convention, tonight a bombshell. Party chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz resigning after WikiLeaks released thousands of internal Democratic National Committee emails suggesting the party favored Clinton over Bernie Sanders. An 11th hour effort to blunt the controversy hanging over Clinton's convention. And upstaging the announcement of her running mate, Virginia Senator Tim Kaine.
Senator Tim Kaine is everything Donald Trump and Mike Pence are not.
Fresh off their big debut, Clinton's words of encouragement picked up by the microphones. Unlike Donald Trump, who spoke for 28 minutes before introducing his running mate,
back to Mike Pence,
then walking off stage, Clinton made Kaine the star of her show. He spoke 38 minutes to her 17.
Hillary Clinton, she doesn't insult people, she listens to them. What a novel concept, right?
Now their first joint interview, with Kaine's new role as Trump attack dog on full display. Clinton asked what she calls Trump, since he calls her Crooked Hillary.
I don't call him anything, and I'm not going to engage in that kind of insult fest that he seems to thrive on.
I don't want to. She's done a good job of letting the water go off her back on this. That's not the way I feel. When I see this, Crooked Hillary, or I see the lock her up, it's just ridiculous. And look, most of us stopped the name-calling thing about 5th grade.
They may be presenting a united front, but now it's Democratic unity that's under threat. Those hacked DNC emails enraging Sanders supporters. In one email, a top DNC staffer wonders about Sanders. Does he believe in a God? He has skated on saying he has a Jewish heritage. I think I read he is an atheist. This could make several points difference. Sanders called for Wasserman Schultz to step down, but he didn't back away from his support of Clinton.
We have got to defeat Trump. We have to elect Hillary Clinton.
Live in our studios, our media expert, Dennis Hart, who is going to be here to talk about this latest email scandal surrounding the Democratic National Party and the convention here. So transparency, a party of inclusion. We'll talk about all that. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Was Bernie Sanders right the entire time? Was the system rigged? We're going to talk about that. Today's program is sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande of 2020 Optometrics. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to Dennis in just a moment.
At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
The new Frigidaire Professional line at Ventura TV Video Appliance. Enjoy generous-sized cooktops and sauté or simmer with ease, while true convection ovens offer even baking and juicy roasting perfection. Foods stay their freshest in spacious refrigerators with convenient controls and clear filtered ice and water. Easy to clean surfaces reduce fingerprints, and the quietest of dishwashers makes cleanup a snap. The new Frigidaire Professional line at Ventura TV Video Appliance.
Back here on the program, 436-ME-TV, option 11. Dennis Hart here for the 4,000th time. No, just kidding.
I think 52nd or 53rd time is what it is, yeah.
A little more than that.
Maybe a little more than that, yeah. 54 or 55, yeah. It's all right for a man of my age. That's pretty good, don't you think? I'm a young guy.
39.
Exactly right. Well, it's political season. We have to be here. We got to talk politics today and next Monday.
That's
today
right.
And next
You're
Monday.
going to be here next Monday, too.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
The latest scandal.
Sure.
Come on. The party of inclusion is trying to exclude Bernie Sanders and trying to elevate Hillary Clinton. I'm not flabbergasted.
No,
or
this should not be surprised.
No,
right?
I'm not surprised.
Okay.
But where's the transparency? For
Well, I
God's
mean,
sake?
look, here's what happened. Let's be honest about this one. The Democratic Party establishment had more control over the process this time around than the Republican Party establishment. The Republican Party establishment hates Donald Trump. You saw that last week at the convention. They hate his guts. Democratic Party establishment doesn't like Bernie Sanders. They control because he's a socialist, because they're not going to elect a socialist, okay? So Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's the head of the DNC, and Bernie's had this right all the way. And Bernie was screeching, as you'll recall, for the last 6 months, that the system is rigged and that the primary system is rigged. And the truth of the matter is it was. It was rigged so that Hillary would get the nomination. But that's not illegal. A party has a right to choose its nominee, and the Democratic Party insiders wanted Hillary Clinton,
But
and
it
they've
goes
got
against
her.
their own party rules.
Not necessarily. No, they set up the rules. The Democratic National Committee set up
their own rules.
The Democratic National Committee set up the debate schedule, which clearly favored Hillary Clinton. That was ridiculous. Saturday night debates in the middle of the night when nobody was watching, to keep her from having to appear on television too much. They front-loaded that so that Hillary would win the primaries. They front-loaded the primary system. But again, having said that, It's clear the fix was in for Hillary to get it. If the Republicans could have fixed it, they would, because they wouldn't have had Trump as the nominee. They didn't want Donald Trump. You know who they wanted. They wanted a Jeb Bush. They wanted a Marco Rubio. They didn't really want Ted Cruz. And the reason is obvious after Ted Cruz stabbed Donald Trump in the back during the convention last Wednesday night. But yes, what the WikiLeaks show is that the Democratic establishment set it up so that Hillary would win, and she's won.
Yeah. Is this going to hurt her in the general election?
No, nobody cares about that. No one's going to care because voters are going to support Democrats, are going to support Hillary Clinton.
They're not going to look at this as another scandal?
No.
They won't?
No, they won't, because she didn't have anything to do with this one. She actually
that
did
we
not.
know of.
Right.
That we know
she
of.
actually didn't have anything to do with setting up the primary election thing. Trump.
No, but we don't know if she knew about these emails. We really don't. She can say that. Oh, I mean, I saw the 60 Minutes piece last night.
Well, yeah,
and she
but
said,
I mean,
well, no, I didn't know anything
but
about
see, that's
it. But
like
are we
saying,
to believe
yeah, I think
what
so,
she says?
because Donald Trump said it was rigged against him. He hates Reince Priebus, okay, and he said it was fixed against him, but he managed to overcome that. I'm not thinking Donald Trump saw any emails that Reince Priebus sent as Republican National Committee chair.
I'm sure there were plenty of emails.
Sure,
on that
there
side.
were. Of course, there were, and you know what they said?
Thousands.
My God! What if Donald Trump wins the primaries? What are we going to do right now? So, yeah, does this look bad for Debbie Wasserman Schultz? Of course it does, and that's why she appropriately resigned.
Why can't she clean her desk out and leave now?
Well, because there's no reason for her to do that. Why would that? She has a role at the convention. She helped set this up for Hillary. She's not going to preside over it like Priebus did. I mean, she's going to.
Isn't Donna Brazile going to preside
yeah,
over it?
she's sitting in, right.
Yeah.
She's going to make, Wasserman's going to be there tonight, apparently, Wasserman Schultz, briefly, and then Donna Brazile's going to take over. So, yes, Bernie was correct. But he was correct not because anything
illegal happened.
Nothing illegal. There's nothing. The Democratic Party, like the Republican Party, is a private organization.
Right.
They have a right to set up the rules the way they want to select the nominee that they. We've talked about this over the last year or so, etc. It was rigged against Trump in a very real sense, but he overcame it. It was rigged for Hillary, and Bernie could not overcome it.
Okay, so Bernie Sanders was right.
Yes.
What's his point? Because he's still angry about it. They were trying to shove him aside,
no
and
question.
so he won't even speak in prime time.
This is going to be a very interesting evening for the Democratic convention.
Isn't he supposed to speak tonight?
Tonight, yeah.
But they had him pushed aside.
He's speaking tonight. Elizabeth Warren is speaking, and Michelle Obama is speaking tonight at the Democratic convention. Now, this is an interesting moment for him.
But they didn't have him initially in prime time.
No, but they had to give him. They had to give it to him.
Yeah, how could they not?
Because look, Bernie's not happy right now. If you saw him on Meet the Press and the other shows yesterday, because number one, he didn't get the nomination. It was rigged against him. Number 1A, he didn't get the vice presidential nod, nor did Elizabeth Warren. Hillary Clinton appropriately picked a moderate Democrat as her VP, Tim Kaine, who's a good choice, I think.
And Trump picked on moderate, too, for the most part.
A conservative. He did what he had to do, and his was a good. Pence was a pretty good choice, yeah. We'll talk more about that.
Okay.
But Bernie is unhappy right now because he didn't get his VP. He got screwed out of the nomination in every possible way. And his people are taking to the street in Philadelphia. The irony is that we always thought last week could be dangerous for the Republican convention because there were going to be protesters and rioters. Nothing happened there. There were going to be protesters in Philadelphia. These left-wing nuts out there who are unhappy that Hillary Clinton is not one of them, and she's not. She's not one of them. And Bernie didn't get the nomination. This is going to be a very interesting convention.
Well, I'm trying to look at Hillary Clinton, and you're saying that the left-wing nuts don't like her.
They're not happy.
She's not left-wing enough.
She's not progressive enough.
But she's not progressive enough, and she's not like Bernie Sanders.
That's right.
She's not a socialist.
That's right.
But there are some people on the right, mind you, that think Hillary Clinton is too far to the left.
Well, of course, everybody on the right thinks that. I mean, look at the Republican convention last week, which was nothing but a Hillary bashing for virtually every night, almost out of control in their anger and their
Trump
darkness.
bashed Obama for the most part.
But I mean, my goodness. I mean, you had when Christie was giving his speech and people were saying, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. Well, we don't lock up political opponents in this country. That's for banana republics. You may disagree with her, but it's already been decided. The FBI investigated. The Justice Department investigated. She's not going to be locked up for her email scandals. So get over it. Well, they can't get over it. Now, tonight, it's going to be, and the rest of the week, you're going to have Trump bashing at the Democratic convention. But at the same time, the Democrats have to have a different message than Trump had. The Democrats cannot come out and bash him the way Trump bashed Hillary, or I think some of that backfires.
But I don't think it's a matter of just getting over the email scandal with Hillary Clinton and, the private servers. I think the Republicans or the conservatives are trying to show that she's not trustworthy.
No question about that. And
that's what they're trying
And
to
in
do.
many ways, and you and I have talked about this, Hillary Clinton has lied about the emails. There's no issue with that whatsoever. Now,
three big lies.
Right, but none of that is culpable in terms of criminality, and the FBI investigated that. And Comey is an outstanding FBI director whom the Republicans and Democrats have both praised in years past.
Right.
So there's no evidence that he was compromised in any way. Now, Loretta Lynch was, of course, by Bill Clinton. That's another story. But bottom line being, yeah, this is going to be a Trump-bashing convention, but it has to have a different tone to it. It can't just be every night Donald Trump is Satan. That's what the Republicans did with Clinton all last week. Hillary Clinton is Satan.
They may.
But when Hillary Clinton gives her speech on Thursday night, it cannot be this litany of doom Trump. She has to outline, I think, more than Trump did. What would she do? What is her plan? Trump was very much everything's gloom.
Yeah,
and
we're
doom.
going to talk about that because CNN. I watched some CNN last week, and they did fact check. They had the fact checkers out, and a lot of what Donald Trump was saying about crime being up in major cities is correct.
But crime overall in the country is far lower than it was 30 years ago.
In Chicago and D.C. specifically, murder rates and
yeah, but those are only 2 cities or 3 cities. In some big cities, crime is up.
Crime
across
is way
the country,
up. And
crime
when you have
is
cops
down.
being shot in the street, the way they're being shot now in both Baton Rouge and Dallas,
right? But fewer.
That's a major issue.
But
we haven't had that before.
No, we have. Fewer police officers have been killed in the last few years than were killed in the 60s and 70s. And Trump made the point. He wants to create a country of fear here, a climate of fear, because that's how he could win.
Well, clearly there is a divide. I mean, there's one vision on the Republican side and a different vision on the Democratic side. So we'll talk about that. 436 MeTV option 11. Dennis Hart is here again, my friends. He'll be here again next week. We'll talk about the Democratic convention and Hillary's speech and all the rest. And we'll see what happens tonight when Bernie Sanders takes the stage. That'll be very interesting. Thomas Casagrande is our sponsor today. Hey, this is the funnest time of the year, isn't it? Back in a moment.
Not sure what you're watching? Want to see what's coming up next? Or just want to browse what's on without the hassle of flipping channels? Your wish has come true. Now you can view schedules for all the digital TV channels available in the Central Valley. Get local weather updates and forecasts, and listen to nationally syndicated Biz Talk Radio, all on KVHF 4.1. Rescan your TV now, then tune in to Digital Channel 4.1 to start enjoying the all-new TV Guide.
At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
436 MeTV option 11. There are no phone calls right now, but certainly an open line. Dennis Hart is here. Hey, I guess we got a call now. Caller, you're on the air with Dennis Hart. Go ahead.
Hey, Dennis.
Good morning.
What I do know about Bernie is that I don't think he's going to come out. I mean, he's right now speaking, but he's not going to say things that Hillary would get upset about. But he is bringing out, he brought a lot of young voters, and the voters that he had, he still has them in his pocket. He could use them anyway. I think they're all mad right now with the emails, and the thing is gonna mess up the Democrats. Even though the people don't like Trump, the ones who haven't decided which way to go because Hillary did this to Bernie, whatever. I think my own feeling is that she's gonna lose maybe 30% of Bernie's voters, and they're gonna go Trump. Right now, Trump has passed her, if you know, as far as national, by maybe 4 or 5 points. But now with this happening, people are just upset. Because of what the Democrats have done to Bernie.
All right,
so,
thank you.
What do you think?
Thanks for that very much. Just a couple of quick answers to that. Yeah, Trump is getting the bump that every candidate gets after their convention, and Hillary will get the same bump next week.
One poll I saw this morning, they were tied at 42, 42.
So Hillary's going to come out probably after the convention ahead of Trump in the national polls. But as far as I disagree with Bernie's voters going 30% for Trump, that's not going to happen because Bernie's voters are not Trump's voters. Okay, Bernie's voters may not like Hillary Clinton, but only because she's not far enough left for them. Trump is nowhere near where they are. Trust me. Trump is nowhere near what they believe. They are angry right now, but a lot of the Republican Party is angry with Trump, and they're going to eventually get back to him at some point because they're not going to vote for Hillary. Trump's people will not vote for her. Bernie's people are not voting for Donald Trump. They're going to vote for Hillary Clinton. They can't stomach Donald Trump, so I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't.
And a lot of Democrats can't stomach Hillary Clinton for whatever reason.
But they're going to vote for Hillary because they loathe Donald Trump, loathe him. I mean, it's just, we have what we have here, and we've talked about this over the year, and I think it's a great discussion. I cannot remember a time in my lifetime when this country has been as divided politically as we are now.
And that's the Republicans' point of view.
Yes,
that's
that
the
is
point
right.
they're trying to drive home. Is the fact we have this Democratic president. He's been in office 7 years, and we are the most divided we've ever been, or I can ever remember. The point that you just drove
Part of that divide is because Barack Obama is black, and some whites just hate him because he's black. They're racist.
But it's got to be more than that.
It is more than that.
It's got to be more
but
than
that's
that. I mean,
much of
those
it.
racists
That's
are
much of
always
it.
going to be there.
Yeah, but we haven't had a black president, and he has brought out the very worst. You look at Twitter, you look at Facebook, and see the comments that are being made about Obama and about Hillary. Those are the most vile, racist, horrendous comments anybody could ever make.
Vile against Donald Trump, though.
Yeah, that's because Trump is.
That's why we're so divided.
Yeah, Trump is putting together a campaign based upon racism, upon division. Look what Trump wants to do. We've talked about this. Deport 11 million Hispanics. Keep virtually everybody out of every country from coming in here because we're afraid of people coming in now. He's putting together a Fortress America thing, a thing. Well, my phone's ringing, and it's a New York call. It could be Hillary Clinton. Hillary, are you there? No, it's not Hillary Clinton. But he's running this divisive campaign designed to instill fear. His entire speech last Thursday night, and I saw all of it, you've got to be afraid. You have to be fearful.
But on the other side, Dennis, I think what the Republicans are trying to paint Hillary Clinton as this person that's putting her head in the sand. She's not looking at reality. We do have this divide in the country. She's ignoring it.
We do.
She's not facing it. She's not willing to face the immigration problem. She's not willing to face the violent crime that's taking place across the country. She's not willing to face violent crime our policemen being targeted, killed in Baton Rouge, killed in Dallas. So that's the picture they're trying to paint.
No, I understand. But when you say that, as we've said before, violent crime is down in the United States over the last 5 years. It's down. Police officers have been shot. But Hillary Clinton has not said that police officers should be shot. She has decried every one of those police shootings. What should she do?
She doesn't have to say, oh, I don't think
she doesn't have to come out and scream and yell like Trump did during his acceptance speech Thursday night. She's against, obviously we're all against police shootings. Who could be in favor of it, right? Who in the world could be in favor of it?
Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you?
We are great. How are you?
Overworked and grossly underpaid.
You know what? I'm joining you in that one. He's not paying me any money. In fact, I have to pay him to be on this show. Isn't that ridiculous?
That's not true.
No, it's not true. I pulled at your leg.
What's on your mind, sir?
Well, I would like to know why people are so against Donald Trump. He acts just like Ronald Reagan did.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. You never heard Ronald Reagan say we should deport 11 million Hispanics. In fact, he signed an Immigration Reform Act that allowed Hispanics to come in a limited basis. You never heard him make outrageous statements like, I'm the only one who can fix the country. The country is gloom and doom. He ran on, it's a new day in America. It's morning in America. He was much more optimistic. You never heard Ronald Reagan be as divisive as Donald Trump is. Donald Trump has run his campaign on it's white guys versus everybody else. Everybody else is taking what we had. Reagan never did that, and I covered Ronald Reagan as a reporter, as governor and as president. Never did what Donald Trump's doing. I have personal experience with Ronald Reagan.
But I got to tell you, caller, and you may agree with me on this. Reagan is more like now than when he was in office.
Well, yeah, a lot of the presidents are. Bill Clinton's more liked now than he was in office, too. Bill Clinton's widely liked now.
But Ronald Reagan, even though you think he may not have been as divisive as Donald Trump, he was heavily criticized and
by Democrats.
Ridiculed by Democrats while he was in office.
Reagan,
they even made fun of him.
Well, sure, but Ronald Reagan never ran a campaign the way Trump has run his campaign. Never pitting blacks against whites and Hispanics against whites and all of this. Right. Never threatened to deport people. Never threatened to limit immigration. That's not who Ronald Reagan was.
But they often thought and ridiculed him and made fun of him, thinking that Nancy Reagan was running the show.
Well,
and I remember that vividly back in the 80s.
Tell me
so he was ridiculed, even though he was, in your opinion, wasn't like
Okay,
Donald
but
Trump.
when you say he was ridiculed, Barack Obama's been ridiculed, George W. Bush is ridiculed, Bill Clinton was ridiculed. Who isn't ridiculed by members of the opposition party? That's just the name of the game.
I mean, he got along with Tip O'Neill. We all know that.
Yeah.
But I remember him being heavily criticized.
I think that's a significant difference between Reagan and Trump. Aside from the fact that Reagan also had significant political experience and governing experience before he became president, being governor of California for 8 years, etc. But Reagan was a much different candidate from what Trump is. Now, Trump is running probably the only campaign he can run to have a shot at winning this thing, which is a campaign of division. He has clearly decided he's going after
Hang on, caller.
His corner is filled with white guys, aggrieved white guys. Every poll shows it. There's no disputing it. Poorly educated, high school graduate or less white guys. He has decided he cannot win with minorities. He cannot win with women. He cannot do with any of it. The question is, are there enough aggrieved white guys out there as opposed to all the rest of the corners that Hillary Clinton's putting together?
All right, I'm going to ask Dennis Hart this question. I'll ask you this question. Caller, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that Donald Trump and Ronald Reagan share some of the same values?
Well, that's
conservative values.
I'm not sure that. No. I think Donald Trump. I think calling him a conservative is incorrect. That's why conservatives didn't want him. They wanted Ted Cruz.
What about you, caller?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
He shares something, but I just think that he started his campaign way at the beginning, talking about people of color. The one critical statement that he made that got a lot of angry white voters to his side was he said, political correctness is killing us.
Right.
That was a very critical statement.
Yes.
What white people call political correctness, people of color just call that being civil to us.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need for doing this and that. Why is it that if you're talking about a group of people, you can talk about everybody else as if they're just people, but if there's a person of color, they say, "Oh, that's a nice Mexican person, or that's a nice Chinese person, or that's a nice black person." Why can't they just be nice people? We're all Americans, aren't we? We're supposed to be.
Well, we're supposed to be, aren't we?
It's no coincidence that all of a sudden David Duke, after being in hiding all these years, David Duke suddenly is running for senator out of Louisiana.
No, it's no coincidence. You're correct.
It's not a coincidence, because there's a lot of angry white people out there. The most obvious thing that they feel they're losing their grip on the country.
You are correct.
Is that there's a black president. That's the most obvious thing. So no, we've got to take this country back, and that he said that too. We're going to take the White House back, and they also say we want our country back. What do you mean your country? This country belongs to everybody. We're supposed to all be Americans. I just don't get this whole narrative, but at the same time I do get it.
You do get it, caller, and you're absolutely, stay on the line here if you can. You're absolutely perceptive and absolutely correct. And we've pointed this out numerous times on this broadcast. Mr. Trump decided that the way to win this election, the way to win the nomination, is to divide the country. He was not going to get the conservative vote on the Republican side. Ted Cruz was going to have that. So he decided that from the very beginning, his first announcement, when he came down that escalator a year ago and announced he was running for president, is that there are 11 million people coming into this country, rapists, thieves, and I presume some of them are good people. That set the tone for it right there. He ran a divisive campaign. That's why he is getting in every poll no black support, no Hispanic support, very little female support. You can't win an election without any of that, but that's the way he could get the nomination. Now that was his way he did it. You're absolutely correct. When they say he wants to take America back, we all know what that means. I'm not judging this. We all know what it means when he says we're taking America back. White guys are taking it back. You with me? You agree with me on that, caller?
Yes, I do.
I don't know that that's true, though. I don't
That's
know
what
what
he
he
means.
means by that.
Oh, sure you do.
mean,
Of course you do, John.
Take this
Because you
country
don't want
back.
to
What does he
admit
mean
it
by
to
that?
yourself. That's the problem. You don't want to admit it to yourself. People need to take a good hard look. Not just white people, but all people have to take a good hard look, and they have to decide where do we want this country to go.
Right.
Are we going to work together? This is the greatest social experiment in the history of the world. They're trying to get people from 150 different countries to live together.
Yep.
It's the greatest social experiment of all time. We're going to have bumps in the road like this.
Right.
No.
But one of the things, caller, I just want to
take us way down.
Yeah, caller, I just want to say, if I had the opportunity to ever interview Donald Trump, which I probably won't, he probably wouldn't talk
Probably
about
won't show up in this venue.
He's probably not going to show up here in the studio. But if I did, the first question I would ask him, and I've thought about this, is that very point that you made, Dennis. If he was sitting here, I'd say, Donald, you have said that you want to take our country back. What do you mean specifically by that? I want you to outline, give me A to Z what you mean by that. Because I don't know what his answer would be. Now, does it mean that white people want to take it over? Does it mean that you want to revitalize the country to a certain extent? What does that mean? Healthcare? Does that mean economically? What does that mean? Racially?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
I have a question, and I thought about this as well. The one question I would ask Donald Trump if he were here right now with us.
If you only had one question, what would it be?
And I think this cuts over a lot of issues. How do we get the race thing right in this country, the racial issue? Because clearly
nobody knows the answer.
We haven't gotten it right. We fought a civil war over this thing 150 years ago, and to this moment, blacks hate whites, many of them, and many whites hate blacks. It's nonsense. It's garbage, and yet it's killing this country right now. It's what's leading to black officers, or officers being shot to death by black guys in some cases. It's leading to officers overreacting in some cases to black suspects. It's killing us in this country.
We're going to talk about that more. Caller, you still there? Okay. Well, listen, I appreciate your call. Running short on time.
Great call. Thank you.
Bottom of the hour, we got to take a break. Thank you for calling.
Thank you
call
so
back
much.
Again. All right, 436-MeTV, option 11. We're back in just a moment after this from Dr. Thomas Casagrande. He's at 2020 Optometrics.
The Justice Network is here. If you haven't tuned in, you're missing a great lineup of gripping stories of real crime, plus an unprecedented effort by viewers like you to play an active role in making your community safer. You can help support law enforcement by providing information that may lead to the apprehension of dangerous criminals or find a missing child. Great shows and your chance to fight crime, only on the Justice Network.
At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
All right, we're going to talk about the police shootings. We'll talk about race in America, but I do want to talk more about this this email scandal real quick in the Democratic National Convention. Hillary's campaign manager, or not Hillary's campaign manager, I believe, it is Hillary's campaign manager, Robbie Mook, who said the Russians may have hacked those internal emails to help Donald Trump win the White House. How would they possibly know this?
Well, we don't know that, okay, but what we do know is that the DNC's emails were hacked. We know that.
Yeah,
in fact,
but
the
who hacked
FBI's
them?
right. Well, it is thought that the Russians did. No, I didn't.
Did I hack them?
I don't. I don't even know how to access emails. What are you talking about hacking?
No,
et
I
cetera,
don't even know how to work my phone.
Exactly. No, we know that the DNC's emails were hacked about a month ago. It was revealed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The FBI opened an investigation about an hour ago into who hacked the DNC's emails. I think it seems on the surface as if saying that Putin is somehow interjecting himself in the election is ridiculous unless...
But doesn't he have ties to Trump?
He does. Putin does have ties to Trump's people. That's the point.
All right.
So it is possible that Putin is saying, wait a minute, Trump is a blowhard. He's really dumb. I could mow him when he's president. I can really overwhelm him. I hope not. I hope the Russians haven't intervened here. Until we know further, I can't say anything like that. I don't know.
All right. Trump's campaign manager, Paul Manafort, worked as a consultant for a pro-Russian
Yes, he did.
Ukraine.
And that's why...
And he shot back and he said, no, that's ridiculous.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Is it anything go... Politics is a blood sport. It's become a blood sport in this country.
Always has been.
Nothing surprises me, okay? Yeah. Nothing surprises me. So is Putin trying to get Hillary elected? I have no idea. I have no clue. Anyway, Trump says he can work with Putin, right? I guess they'd both take off their shirts and show each other their muscles or something like that. Ridiculous.
I don't want to see either one.
No, I don't want to see it either.
No. Here's a little email question for us. What if Bernie Sanders pulls a Ted Cruz tonight at the DNC? Wouldn't that be something?
It would be, but I do not believe that's going to happen. I'll tell you why I don't believe it's going to happen. In fact, take it to the bank. It's not going to happen. Because Bernie Sanders hates Donald Trump. He is not going to say, vote your conscience.
Who does he hate more, Hillary or Donald?
No, Donald Trump. Bernie is going to talk about his agenda tonight, about what he would like Hillary to do, but at the end of the day, he's going to say we have to support Hillary Clinton. Take it to the bank. That's what's going to happen tonight. If he does not say that, if he does a Ted Cruz, okay, I will come on this show next Monday. I'm going to be here anyway, and I will eat crow, a live crow on this air, but that's not going to happen. Ted Cruz, by the way, Ted Cruz should never have been invited to the Republican convention. Trump made a mistake with that. He shouldn't have invited him. That was a stab in the back. It was unconscionable. If you can't support Donald Trump, and I came on this show, and you'll remember I did this, Trump won the nomination fair and square. He won it, okay? Yeah. For Cruz to go out there and say, vote your conscience, he should be ashamed of himself. The reason he did that is because he wants Donald Trump to lose, and we all know that.
Well, listen, before I get to the caller, I just thought of a Saturday Night Live skit. We could have the real Bernie Sanders or the fake Bernie Sanders on Saturday Night Live with a bow and arrow with 3 photos up on the wall. One would be Donald Trump, one would be Hillary Clinton, and the other one would be Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Which one do you think he'd pick?
Wasserman Schultz. No question. He would come after her right now because he knows.
More than Trump?
Oh, yeah. Because he can oppose Trump, but Wasserman Schultz actually did conspire to keep him from getting the nomination. Trump didn't do that.
Bow and arrow. The old bow and arrow.
In fact, that would be a great Saturday Night Live skit. You ought to send it to New York. Send it to Lorne Ebersol, the producer of Saturday Night Live.
Lorne Michaels.
Lorne Ebersol. Lorne Michaels.
All right. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, John, it's funny how politicians think, but you're going for the person that you think would be best for the United States. If we've got so many immigrants coming in, how do we support them? How do they work? Does the United States always have to stand by and put them on welfare when there's no jobs? Hillary wants to let them in, and the other delegate, Trump, wants to keep them out. I mean, I don't understand what the difference is there. You're just talking about politicians that want 2 different things, and it depends. It's like this gentleman sitting next to you. What would you like? Somebody coming in as an immigrant and shooting you and your wife? How would you feel?
Well, that's a good question. I wouldn't want somebody walking down the street in Fresno to come and shoot my wife. Obviously, that's a question. What kind of question is that? Why would I want anybody to shoot my wife? Now, having said all of that, let me just explain to you that immigrants coming into this country have a lower crime rate than United States citizens. I know you didn't read that on the Drudge Report, but it happens to be true. There have been very few incidents of immigrants, and we have millions of them coming in a year, shooting people in the United States. We have 30,000 shootings in this country. Most of them are done by U.S. citizens. The question is not, are immigrants going to come in and shoot us? Immigrants have come in and built this country. My grandparents were immigrants. John Malice's grandparents were immigrants. Virtually everybody came to this country from somewhere else. The answer is not to shut down the border. The answer is to have extreme vetting to make sure that those who are coming into this country do want to assimilate in the country. I agree with that, but not shutting the border.
Yeah, caller, go ahead and respond. What?
But no, what I'm trying to say is, would you rather have immigrants come in and be on welfare, or would you like for them to come in and steal and rob to try to make a living?
Well, those aren't the 2 choices. Most immigrants who come to this country statistically go to work. they're doing jobs in this city right now that white guys don't want to do. It's not a matter of they come in and go on welfare and come in and commit crimes. Most don't do that. Where are you getting this information? The Drudge Report? Where are you getting this stuff?
Caller, are you there?
Thanks, John.
Caller, are you there?
Didn't want to engage in the conversation.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now let me point out another fact that I saw on CNN, and I've seen this more than once. And we'll talk about the police shootings here for just a moment. I got to get to Tim Kaine before we run out of time, and that is that more whites are shot by police officers in this country than are African Americans. That is a fact that CNN dug up. So, what do you think about the outrage that happened? You know, I mean, police shootings are it just seems like there are more of them. And with the 2 African Americans that were shot in the last month or so, Dylan Noble was shot and killed here, unarmed, here in the city of Fresno.
Right.
Why aren't we focused, Dennis, on the black-on-black crime, especially in Chicago? There are so many African American children in the city of Chicago being shot. I read a story, I believe it was in the Chicago Tribune, about a 9-year-old boy that was a drug runner. They shot him in the back, killed him.
Right.
Why aren't we focused on that? Why aren't we outraged about that?
Well,
that's a human life, a 9-year-old child.
Right, I think we are.
It's tragic.
Well, I think we are focused on it. That story was on every national newscast. It was a major national story. What you have, though...
But we're not as outraged as we were about a month ago with the 2 African Americans that were shot.
Right, because...
by police officers. Let me put this call on hold.
Yeah.
Hang on, caller. Go ahead.
Well, one of the things that's happened is the unfortunate use of social media to exacerbate racial tensions in the United States. These things that we've seen in terms of cops shooting black suspects, they're videotaped and they're put up on Facebook and Twitter and wherever instantaneously without any context, without any editing, and it's inflaming racial tensions in this country. You're
talking about a rush to judgment?
Of course I'm talking about that. The same thing with the Gray...
Hang on, caller.
The shooting of Gray in Baltimore, where the officers were immediately charged, and of course they have all been acquitted now in trials. But...
Freddie Gray.
But the black attorney there, the district attorney, in order to keep Baltimore from exploding into riots, had to bring those officers up on charges. So what's happening now is that we have a significant part of the black community in this country believes that officers are targeting them because they've seen it on social media.
Are they? Are they?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
I think cops have a very tough job.
Okay.
They have... I went through police training about 3 months ago. I went through
Hang on, caller. I'll get to you in a
I
moment.
went through 13 weeks of police training with the Fresno Police Department in their Citizens Police Academy class. I went out to the academy. I shot their weapons. I did a simulation of shoot, don't shoot, where they simulated stuff in front of you on a screen.
It's shoot to kill, right?
Yeah, you had to make a decision on whether to shoot. And of course, I've covered the police in this city
But
and
when
in
you
lots
shoot,
of cities.
if you're an officer, you shoot to kill, right?
But no, yes, you do. You do not shoot. It is a television artifact that you shoot the gun out of somebody's hand. Nobody can shoot a gun out of somebody's hand. You shoot to stop. You shoot for the mass, and the mass is right here in the chest, okay? If you think you're under fire, if you think you're about to be shot. Now, you have to make a split-second decision. The Dylan Noble thing is a classic example here. You've all seen the video. We've all seen the video now.
Were you outraged by the video?
No. The first 2 shots, in my opinion, okay, when he was reaching behind his back and he's coming toward the police, they were going to shoot him. Okay, they were not about to allow him to bring that gun forward if there was a gun there and take the first gunshot to the chest.
Turned out to be unarmed.
Yeah, but they don't know that. They never know that. They have a split second to make that call.
But I've heard people say when he turned his back, you could see he had no weapon.
Not in that split second. I couldn't see it. Could you see it? Now, the question is on the 3rd and 4th shots. That's the issue, okay?
Right.
And that's going
the
to be
problem
adjudicated.
Dyer has with.
That's right.
Dyer has a problem with those last 2 shots.
Now, do I believe police are targeting black people? No. Do I believe that there are some crazies out there now targeting police? Yes, we've seen that in Dallas. We've seen that in Baton Rouge. This has to stop because once we lose respect for law enforcement in this country, we lose control of our country in terms of our abilities to operate by the rule of law. You know, those little things add up. How many times have you seen, for example, guys running through red lights? I see it all the time in Fresno.
I saw it yesterday.
Yep. That means they have no respect for the rule of law. Now we get to the point of if you cannot respect or trust your police department, that's a problem.
Right.
That's a problem.
Okay, caller, quickly, your comment, please.
My comment is just that I'm new to the political system, and as for somebody new, the only thing that I find fascinating is that Trump should not be president because of the racial statement that he made about Hispanics. As president, you want to represent all people, and that's why the only reason I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton.
Well, you're right. Thank you for your phone call very much. But yes, he, again, has based his campaign on dividing the country. And Hillary will divide her part of the country, too. It's just that her division is different from his division. Her division is women, blacks, Hispanics.
Interesting. Last election, nearly 4 years ago, it was almost, not quite, almost split in half. The divide.
We're split in half in this country. We are split right down the middle.
Hey, 436 MeTV option 11. A lot of time left. Got to get to Tim Kaine, the VP pick for Hillary, in just a moment. After this, from Thomas Casagrande, 2020 Optometrics.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
436 MeTV option 11. Hey, I got to get to Tim Kaine. He's the VP pick for Hillary Clinton. We saw the rally on Saturday morning from Florida. Now, this guy is a senator from Virginia, former lieutenant governor, former governor, and former city councilman in Richmond. All right, so let's play the videotape. We'll listen to Tim Kaine talking about the differences between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Nearly 2 million men and women put their lives on the line for this country as active duty, as reservists, as Guard members. They deserve a commander-in-chief with the experience and the temperament to lead. What does Donald Trump say about these great Americans, these 2 millions? He repeatedly calls the American military, quote, a disaster. And just this week, Donald Trump said that as president, he'd consider turning America's back on our decades-old commitments to our allies. And all of you remember a few months ago when he said about a Senate colleague of then Senator Clinton's and mine, John McCain, that he wasn't a hero because he had been captured and served as a prisoner of war in Vietnam. And he wants to be commander-in-chief? While our service members are out there on the front lines, Trump saying he'd leave our allies at the mercy of an increasingly aggressive Russia. And folks, that's an open invitation to Vladimir Putin to just roll on in. Even a lot of Republicans say that that's terribly dangerous. We've seen again and again that when Donald Trump says he has your back, you better watch out. From Atlantic City to his so-called university, he leaves a trail of broken promises and wrecked lives wherever he goes. We can't afford to let him do the same thing to our country. And folks, we don't have to, because Hillary Clinton is the direct opposite of Donald Trump.
All right, so Tim Kaine is the pick. He's 58 years old. He comes from a working-class background, as we all know. He was a missionary in Latin America, very religious. Hey, he's against abortion. Can you believe that?
Yeah, he's a good pick for Hillary Clinton. There's no question about that. He is a middle-of-the-road Democrat. He speaks Spanish, and I contrasted this in the commentary I did on KGED this morning radio. I said, he speaks Spanish. Contrast that with Donald Trump, who wants to deport 11 million Spanish-speaking people. He's going to reach out to Hispanics. Right. He's a moderate. He's not a loony lib like Bernie Sanders. Good choice for, in fact, I think the best choice she could make.
Very religious guy. Will the abortion issue come up? during the campaign?
Will
it be an issue?
Probably not. I mean, I don't. Trump's not making a big deal about it.
Hillary Clinton. When I say she, Hillary Clinton is trying to attract the white males,
Some white males,
with
yeah.
this pitch.
Well, she's got educated white males already. Trump has the uneducated. Okay, she's going to get some. Her primary base of support, though, remember this: women, blacks, Hispanics, gays.
She's trying to get the white vote from the males.
Some.
And she's trying to win the state of Virginia, which is a key
It's a key state, and probably she will. This will help her win that, yes.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. It remains to be
Now,
seen.
Mike, on the other hand, Mike Pence, who is, I think, a good choice for Trump as his vice presidential candidate, but being from Indiana, he was going to win Indiana anyway. I'm not sure Mike's going to help him do something he already was going to do.
We heard Trump call Jeb Bush low energy. Tim Kaine calls himself low energy.
Yeah.
He told NBC News, I'm boring.
Yeah, I think he was being self-effacing. I certainly didn't see that in this clip that we just used here.
Yeah.
I think both Pence and Kaine are good choices for VP. I would look forward to the debates between them.
All right, let's get to Trump's interview, or not interview, his speech last Thursday night at the Republican National Convention. Donald Trump talking and touching on a whole range of issues during that very energetic speech.
When I am president, I will work to ensure that all of our kids are treated equally and protected equally. Every action I take, I will ask myself, does this make better for young Americans in Baltimore, in Chicago, in Detroit, in Ferguson, who have really, in every way, folks, the same right to live out their dreams as any other child in America? As your president, I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology. Believe me, I pledge to never sign any trade agreement that hurts our workers or that diminishes our freedom and our independence. We will never, ever sign bad trade deals. America first. Again, America first. We are going to build a great border wall to stop illegal immigration, to stop the gangs and the violence, and to stop the drugs from pouring into our communities.
One of the key moments, and I was surprised when I heard this last Thursday night watching the convention, that he did mention the LGBTQ
Absolutely,
community.
yes.
Were you shocked as well?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because over this campaign, he has not made a big deal. Remember when the Carolinas passed the bills and all of this, limiting gay rights and all of this? He supported gay rights. He said the bathroom thing is no big deal to me. He has not made an issue the way the traditional Republican Party has of anti-gay marriage, all of this stuff. That's not where he's at. I thought that was
But he did not get a negative reaction either from the people.
And
at the
that was a
convention
big deal because I think in that particular case, see, Donald Trump is not your typical conservative. He is moderate to liberal on some issues, gay rights being apparently one of them.
Yes.
And another, he does not want to cut Medicare or Social Security in order to balance the budget. He doesn't.
No.
That's why conservatives don't trust Donald Trump in the Republican Party.
He's been asked about Social Security many times. He says, no, I'm not cutting it.
Correct. He is not your traditional conservative politician. That's another way he differs from Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, because Ronald Reagan, if you were to ask him today, if he was here, sitting here, he would say, yes, we need to revamp Medicare.
Right.
We need to revamp Social Security
But what he would,
because we can't afford it.
But he would not be a gay basher. He would not be talking about deporting 11 million people because that's not who Reagan was. That is not who he was.
Immigrant basher.
Immigrant bashing.
Yeah, okay.
Or gay bashing.
Yeah,
or gay
okay.
bashing.
All right. Caller, quickly, short on time. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, Dennis, let me tell you something. I didn't like Trump's speech. Number one, it was boring. But his son, Trump Jr., he knew what he was talking about every issue. And I thought I was listening to to Trump Jr. rather than his dad.
All right.
What do you think? Do you think that Trump Jr. gave a better speech than his father?
Good question.
A great question. Thank you for asking that question. I think Donald Trump Jr. gave a very good speech, but I think the better speech as far as the Trump kids came from Ivanka. When she introduced Trump right before his presentation,
Give about a 15-minute.
I thought she was absolutely outstanding. And now she's not going to run for office.
What did you like about her speech?
Because she humanized her father. She talked about how he hires women on job sites, women to be administrators. He's never been a sexist. That's the first time we've really heard that stuff. He has a greater percentage of women in high roles in his organization than many organizations do. I thought she humanized him extremely well. In fact, on radio the next day, I said she gave the best speech of the convention.
All right. Speaking of alleged sexists, all right?
Alleged sexists.
Alleged, and I say the word alleged cautiously. Roger Ailes, the chief of Fox News, ousted for sexual harassment. He left the job last week. It was big news. It was actually kind of put to the side a little bit because of the conventions. Yes, absolutely. So let's run the piece on Roger Ailes as to why the big guy is out at Fox News.
After building the network from scratch and running it for nearly 20 years, Roger Ailes is out as chief executive at Fox News Channel. Network parent 21st Century Fox made the announcement following allegations that he forced out a former anchor after she rejected his sexual advances. Ailes' downfall began earlier this month when former Fox and Friends co-host Gretchen Carlson filed a lawsuit charging that Ailes sabotaged her career because she refused his suggestions for sex. Ailes denied the charges, but 21st Century Fox began an investigation. Other women came forward, and it was reported that Fox anchor Megyn Kelly was among those who had told investigators about harassment.
These kinds of allegations have been around for a long time, but very often women are not believed. And I think in this instance, for the first time, certainly at Fox, somebody said, hey, wait a minute, we really need to take this seriously.
Ailes is credited for changing the political conversation and giving a television home to conservatives.
I love Cleveland.
The news comes on the day Donald Trump is to accept the GOP nomination for president, a speech that will likely be watched by more people on Fox than any other network. Questions now whether the network will tone down aggressive opinion without Ailes.
I think the next person will try to turn Fox News into a business, an ongoing business. The other problem for Fox News is all the excitement and all the hubbub of this election will be over. And it needs to go into a new cycle of life in the next 4 years, and it needs somebody, I think, who can try to bring some more value to it.
Taking Ailes' place in the meantime, Rupert Murdoch, the company's executive chairman, until a successor can be found. Ailes will have no formal role in the company, but is expected to serve as an informal advisor to Murdoch. Noreen Nasser, Associated
Roger
Press.
Ailes supposedly and allegedly sexually harassed up to 25 women, including Gretchen Carlson, and Megyn Kelly was the nail in the coffin?
No
Dennis?
question, because when that information came out after her deposition last week, that he had come after her. She is the key to the future of Fox News. Her contract is up this year. Her ratings are as good as Bill O'Reilly's, who's the big damo on Fox News. They need to keep her. The only way they were ever going to keep her is by getting rid of Roger Ailes, who founded Fox News, created that. He was brilliant at what he did. It's the #1 cable news operation in the country, viewership-wise. Brilliant man who apparently, and I don't think there's any question based upon the number and variety of things we've heard about, probably did all of those things, probably sexually harassed all of those women. He couldn't control himself. Deserved to be out now at Fox News.
Yeah, and who's going to take over? That's the big question.
Well,
we
his
don't know.
Rupert Murdoch's sons are the immediate people. They're running the, well, Rupert's running it right now.
Yeah, Rupert is.
Rupert clearly gave the go-ahead to get rid of Roger Ailes. In fact, it was the Wall Street Journal which broke the story. Rupert owns the Wall Street Journal.
Yes, I know he does.
Yes.
And Donald
Yes.
Trump supports Roger Ailes.
Yes.
He stood
Yes.
behind him.
That may be another indication. Rupert Murdoch has a relationship with Bill and Hillary Clinton. He has never hated them
Yeah.
as much as Fox News does. It's possible. Maybe Rupert's pushing the envelope here.
30
We'll see.
seconds. You had some breaking news on your phone there.
Yeah, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, just been announced, is not going to gavel the Democratic National Convention open this afternoon as the head of the DNC.
Who will? Donna Brazile?
They're not saying, but she's pulling herself away, and I'm pretty sure the reason for that is probably Hillary's people said can't have the optics on that
and
one.
Donna Brazile relieved herself from her duties at ABC News
Yes,
as a commentator.
as she should, as she should,
because she's taking over the Democratic National Convention.
This convention this week has at least as much opportunity to be a clown show as the one last week was, and we'll be back next Monday to talk about it, right?
We will. Dennis Hart, always
I'll
good
be
to
here.
see you.
Good to see you, man.
All right. Appearance number 400.
400.
All right. 436 MeTV option 11. If you want to leave a message, out of time. See you back tomorrow and connect with me on MeTV Fresno.